Kat, welcome to the Take Flight podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for joining me. I've been really looking forward to it. We spoke with Bulk, so thankful for them for introducing us. And yeah, I'm such a huge admirer, so I've been really looking forward to speaking with you.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you. I'm
Where are
excited
you at the
to.
minute?
I am in Loughborough. I'm in Loughborough at the
Are you?
minute in the Midlands. Yeah, so
Mhm.
I'm here throughout Monday to Friday, just to have access to facilities and stuff, and so I'm able to train properly. And then I'm in Liverpool at the weekends
Amazing.
in my
And how
home.
many days are you training?
Six days a
Are
week
you?
at the minute. Yeah, so
Wow.
Sundays off. Always Sundays off, but 6 days a week.
The day of rest.
Yeah.
I was up there. I went to record with Richard Whitehead in Loughborough, and we ran
Oh,
on the
okay.
track. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, it's so incredible up there, isn't it?
Yeah, the facilities, especially for athletics and I think swimming, uh, yeah, they're really good. I think it's our national training centre, so we've got like an indoor facility, an outdoor track, which you probably would have ran on,
Mhm.
and then everything's just there, and it's just easy. We've got physiotherapists. We can access the pool as well if we want to do any pool sessions. So yeah, it's a good setup here, especially amid the pandemic.
Mhm. Yeah, oh no, that's amazing. You got like team members and stuff training with you as well.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
good to have that sort of, extra motivation there. I'm a bit
Mm.
of a show off normally. I do my best in front of people. If nobody's there watching me, I tend not to tend not to get those results. So I'm happy to have people there.
That's great. It's funny. I remember people used to say in the gym, like if there's someone watching you, you'll always put out another rep or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think, that's I think I don't want to go into it too much, but yeah, that's why we miss crowds in sports so much
Hmm.
at the minute. And that's why it's like the main championships of the year, and it's a crowd and everything's on the line and everybody's watching. That's what I live for. But on a
Yeah.
smaller level, just in that gym each week, that's
Mm.
you get an extra rep that you might not have got out of.
Yeah. Well, look, as I said, I've been so looking forward to speaking with you. You're the best heptathlete in the world. You can use your face there. How does that sound to you? Does that feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, it still feels uncomfortable. Obviously, I won that title in 2019, and a lot's happened since then. But yeah, I think it's a title that hopefully I can ease my way into.
Yeah. Well, number one, it's such an incredible achievement, and I don't know whether you think this or not, but I feel like with people who have multidiscipline sports or events, sorry, maybe you are more humble with that because you're not the best or often. I mean, obviously, the world champs for you was incredible, outstanding performance, but usually heptathletes aren't the number one in every event. So maybe that makes you a little bit more humble.
Yeah, I think the heptathlon in its essence is very humbling event. I've had many humbling moments. So I think that my history has got a lot to do with that. But I think in essence, the heptathlon can be, one of those events that you could be world class in, say, for example, a high jump or a long jump, and then go into the shot put and then come, last in your field. It's one of those events that you do need to be world class in a couple of events to
Mhm.
in order to get a medal. But like I say, not everyone can be good at everything.
Hmm. What would you say your world class events are?
Events that I've done in the past are championships in the single event or high jump and long jump. I came, I think, fifth at the London 2017 World Champs in the high jump, and I've snuck a silver medal a long jump indoor world champs as well. So they're my two best events, I believe.
Hmm.
My worst events would be the throws. Anybody who's watched me would know that.
And what would you say is your favourite?
My favorite event, against the odds, is probably the 800. I know it's a bit of a controversial thing to say for a heptathlete because everyone normally hates the last event, but I think it is the most exciting. It is the event that everything is on the line when you are doing that event. It's the event that you know where you stand, so you know that you have to beat a certain person by so many seconds in order to get the result you want. And it's the event that you can be the most competitive in.
Yeah, the 2019 world champs when you crossed the line. Oh my god! Like the whole way around. It's such a roller coaster of emotions to watch. How did it feel competing in that?
Yeah, in that 800 in particular, it was so sick. It was Doha did this like light show. So before the event, the whole track went dark. They turned off all the stadium lights and they sort of just put the spotlight on each athlete. So I think only the final race in the heptathlon got the pleasure of that. And yeah, each lane it lit up, and then your name lit up around the track, and then your flag was sort of incorporated in your name. And I think it was mad because after my name got announced and then the last person's name got announced, the track all went silent. And then where the track lines were, they did like a heartbeat, and then the sound came on. So it's like, duh, duh, and like the heartbeat was going on around the track
Oh
lanes.
God.
And like the event's like nervous enough. And then you had all this, and I was just like, you sort of like shaking it at the start line and it couldn't be built up more. But yeah, that event, it was just, my whole, not yet, because obviously I've still got a lot more to achieve in my career. But at that point when I was standing on that line, it was like, yeah, everything could be building up to this moment. That's how they sort of built it with all the, the stadium lights and stuff. So you had to cross that line and for it to finally to finally like, be confirmed. It was just, yeah, it was life changing for me.
As if it isn't stressful enough already just to be waiting on the start line. They do that for you.
I know. I know. It was good though. I did like it. I did like that. It's atmosphere, doesn't it? I think
Mm.
athletics. I like that sort of idea for athletics going forward.
How do you perform in that? Because I mean, you performed. Was that when you crossed the line? Was that beyond what you imagined you could have done, what you could have achieved? And like, how do you allow yourself to be able to get that from yourself?
No, it's not. It wasn't beyond what I thought I could achieve. Like I've always had big dreams. I've always wanted to achieve the most in my sport. I've always, wanted to break barriers, and I've always wanted that medal. And I think
Mm.
what um what I wanted more than the score was definitely the medal. I think my perspective changed a couple of years ago on the fact that I can do these good performances, but I didn't really win any medals and championships. So I think amid my career, I started to not believe that I would ever achieve that. So I've always had those goals, but I had a bit of doubt in between. I didn't know whether I was just going to be one of those athletes who are always on the cusp. So I was
Mm.
happy that, when I did it, I was finally able to prove to myself and to my close family and friends that, they were right to believe in me.
Mm. And how did you cope? Because I come across this so much with people, whether it's athletes or entrepreneurs or actually anybody in life who has self doubt. Like, what did you do? Was there people that you got around you, or did you cope with it yourself? Like, how did you get past that?
Self-doubt. So I think after 2016, that was when my confidence levels were probably at the lowest. It was when I thought that I was able to win. I was able to achieve these things, but just nothing was clicking, nothing was working. It was just like I was getting to a champs and something would go wrong. I would get injured before I would no jump in the long jump, which means I had three no jumps and my score would be null, or I just, come sixth from a bad performance. And I was just like, I don't know what it is about the championships, but nothing is following through. And that's when, yeah, it was just like, am I really a heptathlete? Should I just go into high jump or should I go into long jump? My body can't handle it. And I had a lot of self-doubt back then. But I think what sort of made me carry on was, I didn't want to live with regret. So I just thought I'm just going to carry on. And if it doesn't work out, at least I know that, I've tried my utmost to make this work. And I changed a lot after 2016 and I had a fresh start. So I think that played a part where I wasn't just repeating the same mistakes over and over again. I just tried something new and, it paid off.
Mm. And when you say something new, does that mean like techniques with your performance, or what was it?
Everything. I moved. I
Really?
moved to France. I changed my
Mm.
coach, changed my whole setup, and just got got stuck in.
Wow, that's awesome. That's you got to be incredibly brave to
Uh,
do that, right?
yeah, I was only 23 at the time, so it was big. I'd never. I live 5 minutes away from my mum, so even when I moved out of the house, I was still pretty much living with my mum, and she was coming
She's
and
doing your
doing
watching.
everything for me. Yeah, I was, yeah, I was a big home bird. Like I love Liverpool, and it was very hard for me to leave, even my two dogs as well. And it was a big risk, but it's paid off. It's been very hard at times. It's been very isolating there. Not knowing the language, not knowing anybody when I moved there. But you just have to make these things work.
And why France?
It was just the coach. The coach was there. The
Okay.
setup was there. It was really chilled place. I needed to chill out. I think I was very highly strung on doing everything right and doing everything perfect. And I think the self defense and the sort of approach to things, but chilled me out
Mm,
and matched my personality
mm,
in order for me to get the best performances out of myself when I'm relaxed. And I'm not like constantly pushing or constantly thinking that it's do or die if I don't get this performance. It's just
yeah.
breaking it down and looking at the process. And when I just concentrate on the process, then the results just come, and that's all I do
Mm.
now. It's very it seems very simple thing to say, but if you put in the hard work and then you just trust that you've done all the hard work and think about the process, then yeah, it just seems to work for me.
Mm. That's such an amazing philosophy. I love that. You're right, though. It is
Yeah.
easier said than done. I suppose it comes over time. Like the more you practice it, the easier it gets to do that.
Yeah, it was a time where, the first year it wasn't clicking, and I was thinking, oh, I need to be working harder, I need to be killing myself every day on the track, and all these things that, would have led me to an injury, would have led me to, just blowing out up on the track and not getting a good performance. Whereas when I just think about, if I'm doing a high jump, I've got to, you know, if I'm doing a hurdles, I've got to get fast out the blocks, make sure I get my 7 strides, and then fast into the hurdle with my lead leg. That's all I'm thinking. Whereas before, I'd be like, oh, what if I fall? What if this person beats me? I need to get this PB, otherwise the rest of my heptathlon is going to go to pieces. I really need to get a good start. Like all these stupid, irrational thoughts that didn't help. When if you just like think about what you've got to do, but you need to put in the work in order for you to be able to do that. And then, yeah, that's me now.
So good. So, like, basically, what I'm hearing is you managed to quiet your mind down.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. But it does take like I'm not fixed now. You know what I mean? It's not something that I've just been able to do. Like I still have irrational thoughts, but I'm able to reason with them a lot more and just know that that's exactly what they are, rational thoughts. And I do work with, Dr. Steve Peters in order to
Mm.
to do that. He's helped me a lot. It's not just I'm talking like I just figured this out alone. I had a lot of help along the way, and my coach is a good help with me as well and calming me down in the competition. That's why I'm talking about. He's chilled out, and when I look at the crowd to see like what I need to change if I have a bad throw, he's like completely relaxed because he knows I can do it. I remember one of the first competitions I had with him. Um, I got a really bad chop up for the first 2 throws, and he was like, "Perfect. This is exactly the situation that we need to be in because you need to know that you can change after 2 throws." Like all this stuff, where as before I would have been like, "This is the end of the world. My heptathlon is ruined." So it's just like people just talking to you in a different way, and you talking to yourself in a different way. Um, yeah, and it was a great experience for me at the time because I was able to do that then in Doha, like 3 years later.
Wow. So it is literally just a different outlook.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, different outlook, but you still got to put in hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good to hear, though, because I think like a lot of us go down these avenues of like when we have stress or self-doubt or worry, and then you end up spiraling and feeling worse and getting down on yourself, and then you do lose self-confidence. So it's great to hear that really what you're saying is it's just a reminder for yourself, whether that's from somebody else externally or internally, just being aware when it creeps in, then you just remind yourself.
Yeah, definitely the word spiral there. I definitely used to spiral out of control. I think when one thing went bad, it just used to have that domino effect throughout my heptathlon. Whereas,
Hmm.
yeah, letting go as well in the heptathlon is one of those things. You have 7 events, 7 different chances to, go out there and do a good performance. So if one event doesn't go to plan, just forget about it. If one event
Hmm.
goes great, forget about it because it's still, six more, 5 more, whatever chances to do it again.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I mean, I've never competed in the heptathlon, but I play golf. And if I hit a bad shot, I find it very difficult to forget about it.
Yeah, just playing on your mind.
Plays on my mind. I mean, sorry, Kat, I'm just going to close my email because it just made a noise there. I'd love to hear like specifically what might happen. Like, say, let's say, for example, between an event, if something doesn't perhaps go to plan, or between a first and second throw, what is that then that you've done to quiet your mind? And I know you said people can step in and say stuff, but what else would you do?
Uh, so if I had like two bad throws, it's actually if I had two bad throws and then I needed, one good throw because it's only three throws, you mean? I
Yeah.
think it's just what I used to do badly to start off with is what I used to do badly is just assume that that is where my performance level is that day. And I'm not capable of throwing good because, look, I've just done it this twice. I've just done the exact same mistakes two times in a row. Like, this is obviously where my levels are today. And then also, I used to like look at other competitors and see them throwing and think, oh God, it's getting even worse because they're exceeding. Oh, that's even like, and I used to have all these thoughts where one of my training partners said that when he scored his best score in the decathlon, which is the male version, all of his best scores that day always came on the third throw or the third jump. And it's just that like little thing, that light bulb moment clicked where it's like if you have two bad throws, that doesn't mean you're not capable of doing something different in the next instance, in the next 5 minutes. You can definitely change your performance like today. And I think I just used to settle more than, try to change, or I just used to try harder and it just used to go like to pieces more. I used to try and muscle it out when I just need to think on technique. So I think all I try and do is literally chill out, not stress out, and just think of the process. And now I'm repeating myself, but I just think, okay, so what are the cues that, you need to do to throw well? And before the competition, what I do in training is when I just have my training diary, I write down in my training diary every day what I've done. And in the technical events that I've done, I write down what helps. And eventually you start seeing like the same words that helps when you've had a good throwing session. So then I go back to my cues. These are the three things that help me throw far. And I just try and do two of them or one
Mm.
of them. And that's it. And that's it. But it takes a long
That's it.
time. It takes a long time to like get those cues, and you've got to put in the work and training, and you've got to know what works for you, because the technical cue for somebody else, that could be bad for you. Like it's your own personal sort of journey with that. And yeah, I just try and think about three things that help me are, thinking my left arm should stay back, put my left foot into the board and make sure I punch it out. That and that's what I'll think about. Like I'll be like shot punch instead of shot put, and then I'll be like yes, and I'll throw it and I'll go far. Just stupid, but like it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it before, but in the competition, you just need to simplify everything.
Mm. So good to hear. I mean, I know you're saying you're repeating yourself, but it's fantastic. And the reflection thing, I think, is so key because we can all do that, right? We can all look at whether it's a performance or our day, if it didn't go to plan, and think about why. But I think a lot of the times we don't give ourselves the space to do that.
Yeah,
And you're
I
doing it after
agree.
each event or, yeah, on the
Yeah.
micro level, which is great.
Yeah, it is exhausting the heptathlon mentally and physically. But that's why you just need to try and chill out. I really do try and chill out between throws, between, events, between days, because you can't, it's impossible to be that switched on for 2 full days.
And so what do you just sit by yourself to chill out, or what do you do?
Yeah, you just chill out. Like normally you're in like a busy packed stadium. When you get called up to do your jump, you might have 20 minutes before you have to do your next one. Sometimes in the high jump, I do my warm up and I've got 2 hours before I come into the competition. So it's really quite important that, you just lie down, reserve energy, reserve mental energy as well. Try not to watch everybody going through this journey because that'll stress you out, or, take you on their journey as well. So I just try and chill out and stay in my own little world.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, relate that back to business because I find like thinking too much just saps you of energy. Like even if you haven't moved, I'm stuck in my study here all day. But if I think too much all day, like I feel exhausted at the end of the day. And yeah, I think it's important that we give ourselves those breaks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard the analogy. CEOs have been heard to say that the role of a CEO is more like that of a heptathlete or a decathlete, because when they're running businesses, they need to be sales experts, marketing experts, finance experts, and they need to be great at multiple disciplines.
Okay.
So we know that you'd make a good CEO in that, in that case.
Thank
But I
you.
just wonder, like, how did you deal with the setbacks over time, and whether you want to talk about specific setbacks and how you bounced back? And obviously, you made those changes after 2016, but how did you deal with those? Because it was a long period of time to get to where you are today, which is why it's such a fantastic success story, and I love it so much. But how did you deal with it over time?
It's a lot. I don't know which failure you want me to zoom in on because there's been a lot. I'm just
Any?
kind of spoiled for choice. Uh, yeah, I think 2016 was the main one. I think that was the main sort of, I can talk about everything in the lead up to 2016, which made that so, hard. It was I thought after 2012 I was building momentum into the next Olympics. So I think after 2012, when obviously Jess won that and I came through and I got, a junior record, a lot of people just pinned the next Olympics on me, especially after she fell pregnant and it was looking like, we wanted to remake the magic of London, like the whole country was, heptathlon crazy, athletics crazy. And I think going into 2016, it was a lot of, I think maybe unfair. I put unfair pressure on myself to try and recreate magic of 2016. And I think I always wanted to, even though I was 19 in the 2016 Olympics, I was 23. That's very, very young for a heptathlete to win a medal because there's so many different events that you have to sort of pin down and make sure that you're consistent over the 7. So I think coming away from 2012, I had a lot of pressure on myself already for the 2016 Olympics. In 2013, I came 5th in the World Championships at 20 years old. So I thought, great, I'm on track, building momentum. In 2014, I got the world lead early on in the season. And that was a big, big step for me. It was the year that Glasgow 2014 home Commonwealth Championships were, there. And I thought that maybe I could win that and sort of propel myself to the next step. And it was the year that we're meant to be doing, I think, European senior long jump, which would have been 2 years later. And unfortunately, in that space between me getting the world lead and championships happening, I cracked my foot and a stress fracture in my foot. So I had to pull out for the rest of the season. I was unable to do that. And then in 2015, I was sort of building momentum again. I got very close to the world record in the indoor equivalent of my event in the pentathlon, which is only 5 events on the one day instead of 7 events on the 2. And after that, sort of everything went wrong that year where I had a knee problem in that event. So I had to take a long time out. I didn't complete a heptathlon that whole year. So in 3 weeks in the national champs before 2015, I pulled my quad, and then I had to sort of had 10 days preparation for the world champs, which I still had a lot of pressure on myself, where I thought that I could do well and win, which I almost did. But then in that comp, I had 3 no jumps in the long jump, which meant that my score was null. And then I tried to qualify for the Olympics after that and pulled my adductor in the September. So that 2015 was very, very tough. And then that was leading into 2016. I had a knee surgery after that competition. So my confidence levels were at the very, very lowest in 2016. Coming back from knee surgery, coming back from, failure on a very public platform in that long jump, coming back from never really performing well at champs. I just didn't want to compete. I didn't want to train in case I got injured. I didn't want to go to the Olympics, which is mad. It's absolutely crazy. And I think looking at that 2016, my 2016 Olympic Games, I came 6th off all of that confidence lowness. And I think that's a very huge achievement for me when I look back now in the headspace that I was in. And I actually finished a heptathlon. And I even forgot to say, I pulled my quad another 2 times that year between having that knee surgery. So I think, coming away from all that and then going into 2017, which was a home champs in London. I still came sixth or fifth, I think. And at that point, after all that, and after I changed everything, moving to France and changing my life, and I still came sixth, I was just like, I'm never ever going to do this. I'm honestly like, what else can I do? And I don't know what sort of propelled me to carry on. I really don't. But I think I just saw like a glimpse of, I got that score, having have a really, really bad high jump. I still got that score, and it was almost to peak the personal best. And I just saw that the work that my coaches were putting in the background, the work that, how far I'd came in such a short space of time, even though the results weren't there. I knew that I was changing and I was progressing, even though it weren't shown as results. And it was really disappointing, but it was easier to take because I knew that I was on the road to getting better each time. And I think that's when my sort of outlook changed, where I mentioned before, where I wanted to start winning medals because I could show that I was talented enough to do it, but I wasn't. And I think in 2018, I set myself a target to win 3 medals in the indoors, the Commonwealth Games, and the Europeans. And in the end, I won 2 golds and 1 silver, personal best. And I think that year was a huge year for me in terms of confidence and trusting my body, trusting my coach, and trusting everything. So I think the people around me are the people who helped me get to the point where I am today. If I just did it myself, I don't think I would have still been in the sport.
It sounds like you still had faith just by even focusing on the small progress that was being made each year or each competition. You still had faith, which allowed you to, or propelled you into the next event, or encouraged you to keep going.
I think so. I think after 20, I think in 2016, it's the Olympic Games and you have to keep going because, you still sort of believe. But after that, it was very tough for me after I changed everything and then still coming sixth. I think that's when I had faith in my coach and in my performance and in myself because I just felt that it just felt like a different kind of failure. It didn't feel like a failure, an embarrassing failure. It just felt like, okay, I'm onto something here. It didn't work out this time, but I know that I'm on the right path.
Do you love it as well? Is your passion for it made you stay with it as well?
I love heptathlon. There's nothing like the heptathlon for me. I think I've done individual events in the past, and when I finish, I'm just like, I'm not even tired. Do you know what I mean? Like I do like high jump or long jump. Like it doesn't seem like that much forever, but I live for heptathlon. Like there's nothing. I've not experienced anything like it where it's just the sense of achievement after it's finished. I think it's really like I respect my competitors so much, and I respect like the male counterparts in decathlon even more because it's such a hard event to get right. It's such a hard event to get on the start line for. It's a lot of the heptathletes can or are world class in different events. We have a lot of world championships, even world champions who started in the heptathlon and then went on to do really good things in individual events. And I think, there's so many different elements to it. You've got 7 different technical events. You've got to have speed and the power to do the hurdles and, the 200, but then you've got to have the endurance to do the 800. You've got to be able to throw and jump as well. So that's, you've got to find the right balance. And yeah, you've just got you've just got like different people and the different stories as well. And it just over 2 days, it just feels like the ultimate test. And I adore it.
The ultimate athlete doing all that is
I
incredible. I
feel
mean, have you heard of the saying, being a jack of all trades and a master of none?
yeah.
Yeah. So like I was really I'm interested by the quote anyway. I don't believe it at all, but I'm interested in it. I was just fascinated to hear what your thoughts on that would be, because as you've spoken about there, you compete in so many and they're completely different, all the events. I mean, some are obviously kind of loosely similar, have similar movements, but they're completely different. So just fascinated what your thoughts are on the quote, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, I don't think that applies to heptathlon because like what I've just said, I think a lot of athletes like in each event, I think maybe we'll get, a world finalist in the hurdles, definitely in high jump. in 200, yes. You know, you can think of all these different events, and I can think of athletes in each of those events who could, you know, make a world final or Olympic final in those events. So I think that it won't apply to the heptathlon, but I think, yeah, it's like spinning what you said before about the CEO thing. I think it's like spinning plates.
Mhm.
I think one of my old coaches said this. It's like you've got 7 different plates, and if you keep them all spinning, and then you know you're concentrating on these 2 plates and spinning really fast, and then the other one's going really like slow. Just that analogy, that picture
Mhm.
is the heptathlon. You can some events can be going so well sometimes, and then you know other events suffer. Like you've got to find that balance more than you know just you getting to like an average level on all of them. You're just almost like trying to find a balance to be fast enough for the 200, but have the endurance for the 800 to be able to you know throw a shot put and work on my upper body, but then also to be able to high jump and have that explosivity and the lightness to go over the high jump. It's like it's very tough to find the balance more than you know just trying to get to an average level over 7 and getting a medal. I don't think that applies now.
How do you find that balance? Sorry, I feel like I'm not even reading my questions here. I'm just fascinated. Every time you say something, it prompts another question. How do you find the balance then?
Yeah, the balance is hard for me. I think you know you have to. The other question as well is you know a lot of people, especially when I was going through a hard time, not being able to get my throws up to a certain level, which is something I didn't talk about in my struggles. It's one of the questions I got asked was like, do you concentrate on your strengths or your weaknesses when you're training?
Mm.
Do you try and make your weaknesses stronger, or do you try and make your strengths, you know, untouchable? And I think I've went through a lot of different phases where I'm really good at a high jump and long jump, but you can only get to a certain level, and then I've got to get my throws up. So I think what I try and balance it out is, you know, I can naturally do the high jump, I can naturally do the long jump. I really do need to work up my throws and get them up. So I am working on my upper body now. I've got like an upper body program, and hopefully this year we can see some changes. And I've really this winter over lockdown, what is it? Lockdown three. Over
Mhm.
lockdown three, I've really been trying to work on my upper body. So I'm happy that this year, you know, we're trying something new.
Such an interesting perspective. I mean, the thought of not trying to improve your high jump because you are naturally good at it, but then having like because you're ambitious and driven, I'm sure there's part of you who like wants to do better and you know find a PB in that. But yeah, really interesting having the discipline, I suppose, isn't it, to be able to go, no, do you know what, that's going to be enough. I'll focus on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You know, I've seen some heptathletes, not me, but I've seen some heptathletes get to a certain height in the high jump and then go, okay, that's us for the day. Because you know the event's so grueling, and so you know it's you just save your body. You save your body for a
Mhm.
different event. So if they're happy with the height, they won't try the next one because you know we've got
Mm.
5 more events to do. But I always always do it to the death.
I love that. So how do you set goals for yourself then? Because I know, like you said earlier, you were trying to get 2 goals in a silver, did you say, or you were trying to
In
just improve?
2018,
Mm.
yeah, I set goals for myself like that. But yeah, it's just medals now. I don't really set like I do set goals week by week, day by day. Sometimes the event gets or the training gets so hard that I set rep by rep goals. You know, meter by meter. It's so hard sometimes that you just have to negotiate your mind going through like maybe get 300 meters. You just have to think, okay, just get first 100 out the way, and then you just like start negotiating like that. But overall goals, you know, I just set a medal in a champs because I want to get to the start line in full health. Like that's what I pray for. I just want to be at the start line ready to go, and that's
Mm.
all I really really try for. But I would
So,
like, you know, medals as well.
mm. So I'm assuming you set yourself in 2019 the goal of being the gold medalist.
No, I didn't actually. I set myself a goal to do the indoor championships at the time, which was in Glasgow, the European Indoor Championships. I set myself a goal to do the heptathlon pre World Championships in 2019, and then I don't know. I just felt 2019 was a time where I didn't care where I came. I just knew
Mm,
that I was ready, and I knew that I was going to do a big score. And I just wanted to be able to get that big score out. And I didn't care if that made me third or first. I just wanted to be able to get that big score out because I knew I was ready. And I was super relaxed at the point. I was happy, and I loved being in that place. I think, it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get into that place again after I get my training out. I'm not exactly ready yet. I don't know if I'm going to do a big score because I need to be able to train and put in the months worth of training throughout the next 5 months. But I hope that after I do all my training, I can be in that place where I just quietly know to myself that I'm ready to put a big score out. And if I do that, I don't care where I come. I just know I'm going to be proud when I walk off the track. And that's
mm.
ultimately the headspace that I want to be in all the time.
Unbelievable. Yeah, what an amazing mindset to have. I mean, that's something that we can all do though as well, like to try to, because I do talk a lot about goal setting. I think it's important to have some direction and clarity on where you're going, but also you can overwhelm yourself sometimes with that if it's too much. So I think that's such a great way to look at it.
Yeah, I think it changes year by year. When I said in the 2018, I just wanted 3 medals. I didn't really care about the score at the time. But yeah, now in 2018, that was in 2019, that's when I didn't care about the medal. I just knew that I wanted to get a performance out that I was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what my score, my goal is going to be in 2020?
Mm.
Because
2021.
I 2021.
You missed a year.
Don't know what my 2020 goal was. Get out of
Mario
bed.
Kart.
Yeah, or Mario Kart. But yeah, no, I think my goal, you can set long term goals, but things change. I
Mhm.
think ultimately my goal will be 2 days before, one day before I step on that track, I'll have a goal for myself that I want to
Mm.
achieve.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'd love to hear a little bit more about like the personal development that you do in your life. Like, obviously, you're around great people who provide wisdom and educate you in different ways to think and view things. But do you do any sort of meditation? Do you read much? Like, where do you get some of your other inspiration?
I do read a lot, but I read fiction. I tend to just read fiction. Um, I think it's just the people who I surround myself with because I did do that in 2019. I remember reading all these books, and then the week before the champs, I had this book that was a sports star, and I was like, I'm going to read this now because now it's time to get into a mindset of having a motivation, and this is a good sports person, and I want to take from their journey. And then I remember saying that to my coach, saying, this is the book I've got this week, Champs Week, like ready to go. And he was like, Kat, you're a good athlete yourself. You don't need to read that. And that just ultimately I just went, okay then. Yeah, I'm not gonna read that book this week. And I didn't. And it gave me so much confidence to think, you know what, like, yeah, I don't want to take from someone else. I'm in a good place right now. I'm just gonna do me. And I think that gave me a lot of confidence at the time. But I think meditation is good, but I don't do that to think about my sport. I just do that to chill out.
Hmm.
Um, but other than that, I do like watching sports documentaries. That Michael Jordan documentary was incredible.
So good.
I've watched that twice now, but
Yeah, me too.
um, yeah, but pre-comp or pre-competition, I just try and get into a good place. I don't try and take inspiration.
Do you have like a maybe if we talk about it on the micro level, do you have like a race or event routine, like if you're throwing or if you're running the 800 or whatever it is?
Yeah, my routine I think would normally, obviously when I get to the track, I've got to warm up and stuff, but I think my routine starts just being fully prepared. So I would just go through everything that needs to be done before I compete, to take the stress off before I get, so everything can just be automatic. So I'll work with a nutritionist and I'll write down, all my calories, all the protein bars that I'm taking, all the energy supplements that I'm taking, and I'll have that timed. Doha was very tough because they were all evening, nighttime sessions. So I'd never experienced that before. So I didn't know what to do. Normally I wake up, eat breakfast, and then go straight into the comp. But I had to wake up, eat breakfast, and then chill out for 7 hours before I even start. So I just make sure that I've got everything planned, food wise, because the heptathlon is, such a grueling 2 days, and that could make the difference. And I also make sure that I have all my music as well ready when I get to the track too. So I'll have like a playlist, a warm-up playlist that I'll go through, and I'll switch and change. So 2 days, one day before the hep, I'll make sure that it's updated, and then that'll just be me, and I'll just be able to press shuffle without having to worry about like skipping all these terrible songs that I've got sometimes.
What are you listening to at the moment?
Well, you know what? Be embarrassed to admit this, but at the minute, I watched the program yesterday night, and it had a song on from Kate Nash, and I couldn't believe the throwback. And I've just been listening to Kate Nash's album from like 2030. I don't know, 2000 and must have been seven, maybe 2007, 2006. Just been listening to Kate Nash.
I love it. I think it's great. I think
So many good songs.
Yeah. In lockdown, I think it's been a lot of I've been watching lots of old programs I used to watch when I was younger, music albums again. Just reminiscing. There's not much else to do, is there?
Yeah, I like music that takes me back. Ultimately, my routines are just trying to chill me out the most, and that involves around like just being fully prepared. Like I'll even get like my clothes ready in the order that I want to put them on. I'll do that before a comp, or just anything to chill me out on the day is my routines.
Speaking with Steve Redgrave the other day, and he said that he when he competed, he'd wear the same outfit throughout the Olympics.
Really?
He said he'd wash it in between, but he said he'd wear the same. Do you have anything like that you make sure you do for luck?
No, I used to have all these different things, but then if you ever get stuck without it, then you go into that spiral again. So I've tried to wean myself off all my Lucky Charms, so counting to like 13 or something before I did a high jump and stuff like that was never good.
You seem so
favorite pair of socks and stuff. When I was a kid, I used to just have like a favorite pair of socks that I competed in, or I used to have like a t-shirt underneath my top. Or I didn't do any of that anymore.
You seem like so together, like so chilled, like really really nice energy. Is that right, or is that just today?
You caught me on a good day, to be fair.
And is that changed? Is that you since making some of the changes, or is that you? Is that who you are?
I like to be chilled. I do get stressed out with stuff I can't control, but most of the time you can control a lot. But it's just I like to. Yeah, I'm very grateful for all the positions I've been in. I'm talking about happy times, so I am happy. But I think I am quite a chill person. My dad's side, the Bahamian in me. Yeah.
What were your parents like? Like, how did they help and support you with becoming the athlete that you are today?
My mum did everything. My mum did everything for me. She ultimately, forced me to have a hobby when I was a kid. I went through a lot of different hobbies, a lot of different after school activities. We went through ballet, football, keyboard lessons, stuff like that, until I found athletics. And then she was just the ultimate G in terms of like providing everything I needed. Going through every single comp, I think she's to this day only missed 3 competitions. She's been to every single comp, and she supported me, through thick and thin. So my mum's been a huge role in getting to where I am today.
It's so lovely. I mean, my mum took me to every football game when I was a kid for years. Like, just even though she didn't care and she didn't even watch, she just spoke to people on the side. But at least I knew that she came anyway. I read that your mum wrote you a letter after 2016.
Yeah. It's something that I've only looked at once, and Never
Really?
again, yeah, because just bad experience. I'm very good. That's probably why I'm happy. I'm very good at blocking out traumatic experiences. 2016 was one of them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it was an emotional one.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak to you about the world champs. I don't want to go too much into that again, but just when you crossed the line, it looked like for a moment you were still like in the zone, in performance mode, and then the emotions came when you realised what you'd done. Was that what did it kind of dawn on you, or did you just allow yourself to feel what had happened?
Um, I think it's been such a journey for me that when I crossed the line, I still didn't want to believe it until I saw my name up on the board,
Mm.
that I definitely came first. I just didn't want to sort of, until it was concrete. I remember, I think I knew when I won was which is, big for me to say now, but I think in the long jump. And when I do my best long jump, I do have a moment to myself where I nearly cry. And then I just think, get it together. You've still got two events. There's absolutely no way that you think that you've won this now. And I was about to cry, like with celebration. I think I won this whole thing. And I was like, you know what? So much can happen in the long jump, in the javelin, and in the 800. Like my mom was speaking about my mom. Like she always says to me, no matter, like I'm 28 years old now, she always says to me before an 800, make sure you run the first 100 before you cross in, because some people can get disqualified if they cross in too fast. And she'll always give me that piece of advice. I'm like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna cross in before. I'll stay in the track lines. Like I've had I don't even know how long I've been in the sport, but I've never been disqualified before for that. I'm like, please don't say that to me. But I just know that so many different things can happen. So I think when I crossed the line, it was just okay, just make sure that it's actually, my name's going like up, like the first name there, Katarina Thompson, number one next to it. And then I just let my emotions go because I just didn't quite believe it. I didn't believe it until it happened and I saw it in writing.
Yeah, confirmed it for you. It's so good.
Yeah.
What a moment. I was crying as well. I'm not afraid to admit I was crying. It was so good. My parents like love athletics as well, so I was brought up on it, like watching the Olympics and stuff. It's
Oh,
just
it's cool.
it's the best. Um, so yeah, just a quick shout out to the guys at Bulk again, because I know like as a athlete in your discipline, or any athletics really, like I've spoke with Adam Jamili, Victoria Pendleton, I mentioned Steve Redgrave earlier, and loads of other great um, Olympians and Paralympians. It's unless you've got like great brands attached to you, it's difficult to get like the funding and to be able to do it professionally, essentially. So I just wonder what Bulk do for you and how that came around, and as an athlete doing what you're doing, is that a challenge for you to find people who are great to support you?
Yeah, I think what Bulk do for me, I think Bulk have been my nutrition sponsor for a couple of years now. So we did, sort of get together in 2019, and an athlete, I think any elite athlete needs a key nutrition sponsor. And nutrition is so important, especially in my event too, in any event, but especially in my event. And they have nutritional products and supplements that are batch tested, so they're informed sport, which is also a huge thing for an elite sport, to make sure that all the products they're taking, they know that they're safe and good. But yeah, I think nutrition plays a huge part in my life, and it's just more than a protein shake at the end of it. Like it's the whole thing. Like we have like multivits like AM and PM to make sure that have all the right vitamins for recovery and stuff, especially an athlete going through injury and stuff. It's a routine that I do now. So I think that it is important for athletes to have a nutrition sponsor, but it's also definitely important to have brands that look out for the sport, and to have that sort of yeah to have that sort of exposure within the sport as well is definitely important.
I remember seeing you in the tube.
Yeah,
Like
that was really cool.
it was a great campaign. That I mean, amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people sent me that. I was that shoot was done. Funnily enough, the day after Sports Personality in
Mm.
2019 in December. And yeah, it was very very cool to yeah, that was the first shoot I did for them. But they've been, such a really cool brand, and I'm happy to be, one of the athletes.
Yeah, you and AJ, they caught you at the right time, didn't they? Getting you in 2019, just before it all went off. So you spoke about like nutrition and stuff. Just to hear a little bit about like a general morning routine. Do you do anything like that? I mean, I imagine there's days when you aren't feeling as good as you could do. Like, is there anything you lean on that perhaps listeners might be able to try themselves?
Yeah, I think for me, when I wake up, I do prefer sleep in the morning to getting ready and looking nice sometimes, especially before training. So I think it's super easy that I grab the protein porridge pot, and that's just something that you can just pour water in, and it's super easy to just have in the morning. I think that is key in just getting up and getting out of, making sure you have all the right stuff. So you have like protein and sort of carbs to get you through the session too. The routines that I have, nutrition wise, before nighttime as well, is the multivits, the AM and PM ones. So they um yeah, they help with sleep as well because they have all the right sort of vitamins and stuff in. So I think, yeah, it's just important to have that sort of morning and evening routine to help, not just with your training, but also with recovery overnight, to make sure you have the right rest and stuff to be ready for the next day.
Mm. And any like practices or anything that you do to start the day off with?
I just try to blare music to just get my
Yeah.
energies up. Yeah, I like to blare music in the morning. Yeah, I just get up, shower, play music, get myself in a good headspace. I don't go on my phone in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. I don't go on socials. I tend to just like to set my own day up the way I, feel, instead of trying to let, you know, Instagram influence my mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's definitely been a big gear change in my mood each day. So I try to just have less screen time really, apart from, just the music.
That's so good. How do you do it? I really struggle with it. I went through a period of being able to wait until 9 in the morning, but at the moment, I'm literally like, as soon as I wake up, I look at my phone.
Yeah, it's hard because that's your alarm clock, isn't it? It's definitely one of those things where it's just like you wake up to turn your alarm clock off, your phone's already in your hand. I think to stop socials, I just yeah, it's self control. But have you ever tried just like moving where they are on the home screen?
What do you mean?
So if your Instagram is like bottom right hand corner, if you just move it to the next page or the top left hand, like when you go onto your phone, your thumb's almost got like a muscle memory, and you'll click on where Instagram used to be, and it's not Instagram anymore, and that'll make you realize, oh, I'm just doing that subconsciously. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I just won't click on Instagram because it's like, whoa, I didn't even want to go on that, and my thumb's just doing that by itself. So I think, yeah, just change where your socials are on the homepage every now and again, and that'll keep you on your toes.
Keep you guessing. That is such good advice, honestly, because I just get to the stage where I delete it, and then eventually you end up
Doesn't
downloading it
last,
again.
does it?
I don't last. Oh, that's great. I'm going to move it as soon as I get off the phone.
And then let me know how many times your thumb will just go to that, because you don't think, you'll open your phone and then your thumb will click on it before you even have a chance to think.
Mm. It's scary how like the moment if you sat with somebody, the moment they leave or the moment they get their phone out, you just do it and you're not even thinking. It just like I go into straight into WhatsApp, Instagram, and whatever else. Like yeah, I'm moving all of them.
Yeah.
I can't speak with you about asking about prep for the Olympics. I, hopefully everything goes to plan. I mean, what do you know at the moment? Is it everything scheduled to go ahead?
Yeah, everything looks like it's scheduled to go ahead. The IOC have said, that they're definitely going ahead. It's going to be a different type of games. I don't think it's going to be, the big sort of celebration that we normally see with athletes, parading around and with the country and the flags and stuff. But I think that we will get to see some sports. which is good. They're deciding on the fans, I think, at the end of March. I don't know whether they're deciding on national Japanese fans first, and then they're going to decide on international worldwide fans after. But it looks like it's going to go ahead, and I'm happy about that. I'm a bit like, if Leeds and Reading Festival is going to go ahead, then the Olympics better go ahead. But yeah, I'm very optimistic that it's happening.
Yeah, good. I really hope so. And what are your? I mean, obviously you're in training 6 days a week at the minute, but what does it look like for the next few months until the Olympics?
The next few months are going to be, I'm in England, I'm in the UK for maybe another month until the end of March, and then I'll go over to the south of France, and yeah, and then I'll just be working away there, maybe a couple of competitions towards, July, June, the end of June. Probably won't do a heptathlon beforehand. I will just save that for the Olympics, save that for Tokyo. And yeah, just getting myself ready, training hard.
Yeah, can't wait to watch you compete. So it's going to be a gold medal, I'm assuming.
I hope so. I hope so. But a medal will do. A good performance, like I said before, is ultimately what I want to take away from it. But I'm going to be. I'm proud of everyone for navigating this pandemic and getting themselves on that start line is an achievement in itself.
Yeah, well, everyone's going to be behind you, cheering you on. So, yeah, I wish you all the best. Kat, we do the same 3 questions at the end of every episode.
Okay.
These 3 are to give people sort of tangible pieces of advice to take away and try in their own lives. So the first one is there anything you've discovered or come across recently that you're particularly excited about that viewers or listeners might want to look into themselves?
I'm really bad at excited about.
Yeah.
Not like what, for example?
I mean, people say a book, an exercise, a TV program.
Okay.
It could be anything that comes to mind that you're excited about.
Excited about. I'm just looking at my books. What books have I read?
I'd love to hear actually what your favourite fiction is, and I also want to know which was the autobiography you were going to read before the World Champs, but decided not to.
The autobiography I was going to read before the World Champs was Sanya Richard-Ross, who is an American 400-meter hurdler. She's
long nails.
She's really, really good, and she's had a tough time of it, like I did in champs and stuff, like coming through. So yeah, that was the book I was going to read. My favorite fiction, one fiction book I've read, which is probably I'm starting this, so I'm going to finish it, but it's really hard to explain, is a book called Love and Other Thought Experiments. Okay. And it's this really strange book about, like, each chapter is a different thought experiment. So like one of them is the prisoner's dilemma, which is like if 2 people are in the same situation, would they like do one of them over if they had the chance and stuff. And each different thought experiment is a different chapter, but the fictional story runs throughout, and it just gets really weird and it gets a little bit sci-fi at the end. But it's like one of the main chapters of the book is like an ant goes into somebody's eye, and then we get the ant's consciousness from inside the brain and stuff. It's like, it's so weird, but it's like they've got some really good poignant moments in it. And I think like one of the chapters, it says big paragraph on like how we think about ourselves, and one of the lines that stay with me is like, we think about winning, but we never think about everybody else losing in our pursuit of winning. And I think it's like, it's just sort of spoken to me, where it's like, we are, I don't know, it just speaks to me in like, in terms of like, yeah, how I see the world and stuff. Your happiness could bring someone else's sadness as well. So I think, yeah, it was one of those books that, really stuck with me for some reason, but I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, you should read it.
Yeah, you've explained it perfectly. I really felt that, actually. No, yeah, completely. I really felt that, like basically we view the world from our own eyes, and a lot of the time we feel like the world revolves around us. So of course we don't think about the losers if we're winning.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What did you say it was called?
Love and other thought experiments.
Love another thought experience. Okay, that's an amazing one. All right, awesome. The second of these two is if you could offer all listeners one habit to carry out each morning that's going to drive their performance, what would it be?
Can I say what I said before or not? To not go on your phone? No, it has to be a different one.
Do you know
Okay,
what? That was
one
amazing.
habit.
But if you can find another one, that'd be
I
great.
just want all information. Okay,
Can I say what I said before,
one
please?
habit. One habit when I get out. I'm looking around to see what I've done this morning. Um,
I mean, look, I tell you what. Why don't we? Because like you said, chilling out is such an important part of you performing well.
okay.
You've said a couple of things. How else can we chill out? Because we're all so highly strung. So like if someone said like I'm really struggling to relax, like what would you tell them to do? Not music, and not reading.
So all the things that I've mentioned before, that the things that I do to chill out. Not music, not okay. I would suggest I to chill out if they're stressed about a certain situation. So if you're stressed about a certain situation, what normally helps me is making a list. So I think that I'm very practical in terms of like if something is wrong or if I need to do something, then I would list down all the ways I think I can fix it,
Mhm.
and I'll just try and then tick off that list instead of stressing about whatever it is. Just accept that that's happened and just try to write a list of things that might make it better and just try and concentrate on doing them.
Mm. Great one. No, I
Yeah,
love that. Solutionizing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Might not chill you out because you've just given yourself a to-do list, but
Yeah. No, it's good. I think the moment you take it out of your head and put it on paper, then it changes
because
everything.
then
And
you
you have to go on.
no, because then you've got a plan, and then you don't have to
Mm.
worry about what happened. You just have to worry about you've just got actions to then follow.
Hmm. Yeah. I also think that like when you write it down, you have the space from it and it's easier then to be objective. You're not subjective, trapped in your head thinking about it and getting all emotional about it. You can write it down. It's just there.
Yeah.
The last is, what is the one trait within you that's allowed you to have the success that you've had to date? If you had to nail it down to one, what would it be?
Stubbornness.
Really?
I think so. I think so. I think I'm very stubborn in terms of I don't like to give up too easily, especially if I don't think that, I've got out of the situation, whatever I need out of it. So I think stubbornness, I'm a Capricorn, so I think, yeah, stubbornness.
That's great. Kat, it's been such a pleasure. I'm a little bit sad that we didn't get to meet face to face, but I've loved speaking with you. It's been amazing.
I know, you too. I've enjoyed it. I hope it's been good, but I've really
It's
enjoyed
been
it.
No, it's been absolutely superb, and I promised you would finish before 15:15 so you can go and play your
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
Okay.
Who
Thank
are you
you.
playing with?
I play with a team of different people from all over Europe. So yeah, we're all got our different little usernames. Mine is Cat Attack.
Nice.
So yeah, we started in lockdown. We started doing it in lockdown, and it's just stuck.
Amazing. What are you doing every day, you said?
Like 3 times a week almost.
3 times a week. What? And when you say people all over Europe, is that athletes?
Some athletes, yeah, some not.
Mm. Brilliant. Well, look, good luck. I hope you win in the Mario Kart as well.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, thanks so much again, Kat. If I'd love to stay in touch. I might be up in Loughborough to see Richard Whitehead actually, so I'll let you know. And if you're around, it'd be lovely to
Yeah,
meet you.
yeah, I'm here for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'll be around.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much. And Dan, if you want to jump back on, mate,